Hey, so I'm going to be telling a story that's basically just about me and a friend who's no longer my friend. But I want to mention that before I tell the story, this is going to be a long one, so you should probably lay back, get some popcorn. If you don't have any, go buy some, and, well, like I said, lay back, eat popcorn, and enjoy this. Um, I'm going to start the story off straight at the beginning. Back around, I think, 3.5 years ago. Um, the friend I'm talking about, I want to mention, her name is Wolf, and she was the best friend that I'd ever had in a long time. I had had friends before her, but they were all gone at this point from complications in our friendships. But at this point, she was an amazing friend. We both made each other really happy. We both had really similar interests, which at the time was Undertale. And we roleplayed all the time. We both loved role-playing, we still do. But, well, we did. And it was great. But there was this one point where I started to notice things a little bit more. I started to get a bit more aware of certain things that were happening, and this was still, it was like 3 years after our friendship. It was just, I would say, maybe like 4 months ago. In the role plays, the character, her persona, Wolf Green, that's not her actual last name, by the way. Wolf Green was her persona, and Wolf Green was depressed. Very depressed. Suicidal depressed. And I started to take note of that after it got a little more severe in the roleplays. It didn't seem like much, people have depressed characters in role-playing scenarios, so it didn't strike me as odd at first, but things started to get a little bit worse. She had, her dad in the roleplay was abusive. Her aunt was abusive as well, and they were very, very abusive, and that may have been the reason why her persona was so depressed, was because her persona's father and aunt was so abusive. And it was at this point, it was kind of becoming a little bit too much for me. It wasn't that bad. I didn't really care all that much. But it got a bit worse. So, I don't remember exactly how this was introduced, but apparently a long time ago, her persona had a friend named Rex, and this friend named Rex liked her, and this was back in, like, high school for her persona. Back in, like, the years of high school, when her persona was in high school, she was friends with Rex. And it was a perfectly fine friendship until they, both got really drunk one night because another character that she had named, I think it was Luke, had, like, encouraged them both to get really drunk. I think that this is how the story went. And Rex raped her wolf green. Remember that this is still only a persona. This isn't a real story. This was just in the roleplay. Rex got really drunk, Wolf Green got really drunk, and Rex raped Wolf Green. Now, that's the point where I felt like things were a little bit odd because, you know, you don't really just bring that into a roleplay and everything's fine and dandy. I later learned that her dad was doing the same thing in the roleplays. Wolf Green's dad was also raping her. Now, apparently, her persona had cut off ties with this Rex character, but he did appear in our roleplays a lot, and I always got really angry whenever he did. Honestly, I just wanted her to completely get rid of the character Rex, until one day I learned that Rex was one of her actual friends. Apparently he was a nice guy, he was completely fine, and he did not do anything that he did in the roleplays. Now, it was only a little bit after this that I felt odd, like I didn't feel okay with it anymore. I wanted it to stop, because, you know, she was always so depressed, and one of the main things that I had noticed was that every single time I ever, like, left or went outside, she would always talk about how she was feeling suicidal and lonely and scared, and I would always have to drop everything that I'm doing to go inside to tell her that it's okay, only for her to say that everything's fine now. It was getting a little bit annoying, and I started to not really believe her anymore. I started to assume that she was feeling suicidal, but she wasn't actually going to do anything about it. And I remember one night, I got a message from her, and she was saying the same thing, that she wasn't feeling okay, she wasn't feeling right, she felt like she wanted to kill herself, she wanted to die, she did not feel okay or fine. And I didn't respond. I didn't do anything. And I waited, and waited, and nothing happened. And a little bit later, she messaged me saying that everything was fine, she didn't do anything, and that she was okay. And what I'm thinking is that she did feel that way, she just wasn't actually going to do anything. She wouldn't have, like, you know, the actual courage to do that, to do anything. But she still felt like she was going to, and that scared her. And I'm fine helping her if she feels like that. It bothered me that I couldn't do anything with anybody else. I couldn't talk to my other friends or go outside and talk to them, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to talk to her, and then she would start feeling suicidal again, and it was really bad. I couldn't really do anything. And I almost started feeling like I was going crazy, because this had been going on for a few months, and I felt like I was going insane. Not to say that I'm not trying to, like, fake it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying it for attention. I did feel like my mind wasn't in a very good place at the moment, and that I needed to get away from her, because every single time I would talk to her, hours after I would talk to her, I would just be so mad. I would be in a bad mood. I would just not be okay. And it was affecting my mental sanity, my mental state, my sanity. It was affecting so much of me, and eventually I told her that I needed a break, and she was going to Japan for the week. So I just told her that while she was in Japan, we aren't going to talk, and when she comes back, I would see how I feel and tell her if I wanted to still be friends again. Well, she came back, and I still wasn't talking to her. I told her that it might take a little while longer, and she got mad at me because I still wasn't talking to her, even though I said that I would. I kind of snapped at her. I told her that, I need more time. She can't just push this onto me and, all that. I was so mad with her. I couldn't, I lost my trust for her because for these 3 years, I felt like I could trust her with anything. Like, I could tell her anything. I could tell her any secret that I had, and she would keep it, and she would keep it safe. But I wasn't feeling that anymore because I felt like she was lying to me about some things just to get my attention, and that really angered me. And I started talking to her again, and I think later I told her that we couldn't be friends. I made up an excuse that my mom said that we couldn't be friends anymore, and I cut all ties from her. And I think a day or two afterwards, I was just feeling so sad and so lonely because I have no friends. I didn't have any more friends after that because I had been so happy just being friends with her that I never even making a new friend never even crossed my mind as an option. So I never tried to meet any more people because I thought that me and Wolf were going to be friends forever, which is an unrealistic thought. But I was really I I really believed in that. And then when she was gone that second time, I knew that she was gone for good this time, and I couldn't take it, and I told her that we could be friends again because I just felt so lonely and so sad, and I she said that she was fine, that her depression had been had gone away a bit, that she was doing okay now, and she promised me to cut out the rape and the depression and stuff in the role plays, the abuse and all that, which she did, and I'm grateful that she did that, but I it was still traumatic, it felt like. And we were friends for a little while longer, but we didn't really talk as much. This is where our story starts to end a little bit. We didn't talk very much. We kind of were drifting apart a little bit. I also remember before, whenever I played a game with my family, because I often did, I played Team Fortress 2, and I still do try, that when I played Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch or something like that with my family, that she would get so, upset and sad, and she would just make me feel bad and make me want to just drop everything I was doing just so I could talk to her. And I hated that because I want to be able to play games with my family when I want to play games with my family. I don't want to always have to feel like I have to be talking to somebody else just because they don't want me to not pay attention to them. And I never mentioned anything about that, but I recently told her that we couldn't be friends again. We got into a small argument. I, she said that she wasn't feeling like she was not okay, and I said, "What's wrong now?" And all because I put that "now" in there, she got so mad because, she said something like, "Oh, well, I'm just a big bucket of problems then, aren't I?" I don't know. I don't have the message anymore because I I left that group after I told her that we couldn't be friends anymore. And she got really mad at me. She ignored me, and I eventually set her to a role because this was my channel that I had made specifically for us. I set her to a role that I thought wouldn't allow her to talk because I was so mad, and I said that fine, if you want to just ignore me, then I'll just set you to a role where you can't talk. Problem solved. And she sent me a book complaining about something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I when I actually read that, she had left the group, and so I directly messaged her, and I I sent her this message, and I said, "You know what? Let me say something here. You have been angering me for the past few months. You changed, and now I have to practically tiptoe around you so you don't get depressed because I said one wrong thing. I've been trying to keep this friendship going because I know you're in a bad place, but I just can't anymore. I'm done with you. You've messed me up, and I'm not gonna keep up with it anymore. All I do is argue and argue, and whenever I don't pay attention to you, you get all sad or mad. Most of the time when I go to play games with my family, you get all sad and depressed, and whenever I'm on my own, you complain about how I care more about TF2 than you. No, I didn't. But all this has made that come true. You broke my trust a while ago, and now that trust will be nearly impossible to fix, so I'm cutting this friendship off. It was a great friendship at first, but it changed. We're both toxic to each other, and it's not healthy for either of us. Also, maybe try cutting out other toxic relationships in your life. You noted that you have 3 toxic friends, so just tell them it's over and leave, like I am. Take a tip from me and don't dedicate your life to making someone happy. And just know, you are the bestest friend I have had in a long time, but friends aren't supposed to be together forever, so this is the end for us. Goodbye, Wolf." That was the message that I sent her when I said that I was going to leave, that this is all over. And that was it. I left all the groups that I was in with her. I removed her from my DMs on Discord. I removed her as a friend on Discord. It was over. She was gone. And she messaged me afterwards on another group that at the time I didn't realize that we were in. If I would have realized, I probably would have left it, but I'm glad I didn't. She messaged me and said, "First off, I'm sorry for me snapping last Friday. That wasn't okay of me under any situation. Second, you will be getting the commission money from the drawing you did. I just need your address. Third, I'm sorry I was blind and never realized how much I hurt you. I know that it's probably for the best that we're no longer friends. I hope you're happy as you continue your life. Maybe we'll meet again on some TF2 server or some cheesy stuff like that." And I talked with her for a little bit. It wasn't very much. I gave her my address for the commission money because she commissioned me a while ago and never got to actually sending me the money for it, and I never got to send her the actual picture. So we had a short little conversation, and then she left, and I haven't seen her since. I haven't talked to her. I haven't messaged her. I haven't even like thought about opening. Like I haven't thought about trying to send her a friend request or anything. And I've been okay. I'm going to probably miss her soon, but it's for the best that we both part ways because we're not good for each other anymore. And it's just not a good friendship anymore. Luckily, I met somebody else who I think I'll be happy being friends with if I can be friends with her. But um yeah, I think that's just about the end of the story. There's nothing else to our story. I haven't talked to her since. I I haven't she hasn't messaged me or anything. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this story about her. Um if you have any questions, I guess you can ask them in the comments. I do not mind answering some, though some questions I'd prefer to be left unanswered just for her privacy. And yeah, I will see you next Saturday at noon. Bye!
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels, they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down my walls again just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you are, we always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I